In their last report, published in 2011, the German Scientific Advisory Council on Global Environmental Change calls for what they call a great transition. They say that the transformation needed to reach a sustainable society or sustainable development is comparable to the Neolithic transition from gather and hunters to farmers, or to the industrial transition from the farmers to the industrialized society we have at the moment. Well, but what is a transition? And a transition means fundamental structural changes in society. It is often described by a S-curve that somehow comprises a pre-development phase, an kick-off phase, an acceleration phase, and a stabilization phase. Another conceptualization when thinking about how to govern a transition is to think on three different levels. On the one hand side, this is the so-called niche level. On the other hand side, it's the regime level. When talking about socio-technical transitions, it's also called the socio-technical regime. And on the other hand, it's the landscape. The landscape means the prevailing culture or the prevailing values of the entire society. The regime level means it's the institutions and political as well as economic structures that somehow govern the current societal interactions. And finally, the niche level is the level where innovation can happen, and some of these innovations scale up and finally influence and change the regime level. These conceptualizations, though ideal typical, can help thinking about how to govern transitions and how to design different transition paths towards a sustainable futures. They might also be very helpful when thinking about how to transition cities to more sustainable cities and finally to really come up with the ideal city with regards to sustainability principles.